Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Some men follow the rules, others make them. And then, there are those who walk away from the game entirely. Society loves to categorize men: alpha, beta, leader, follower. But what if there was a man who didn't fit into any of these boxes? A man who moves in silence, commands attention without seeking it, and disrupts the entire dynamic between men and women simply by existing? That's the Sigma male. Here's a fact. Studies have shown that women are naturally drawn to men who exhibit high-status behaviors. But what happens when a man refuses to play the status game altogether? That's where things get interesting. The Sigma male doesn't chase approval, yet people can't help but gravitate toward him. He's the human equivalent of Wi-Fi, silent, invisible, but absolutely necessary in ways most don't understand until they lose connection. In this deep dive, we're not going to feed you the same tired cliches about the mysterious loner. No, we're going to decode the 11 extraordinary traits that make Sigma males impossible for women to ignore, whether they love them, fear them, or desperately try to figure them out. Buckle up. This is not your average personality breakdown. Number 1. He's the unsolved puzzle women can't put down. A Sigma male is the kind of man who lingers in a woman's mind long after he's left the room. He's not someone she can label, predict, or fully understand, and that's exactly why she can't ignore him. Unlike the predictable alpha who thrives on dominance or the beta who seeks validation, the Sigma moves in a way that defies expectations. He's there, yet out of reach, present, yet impossible to pin down. This isn't by accident. It's who he is. Women are used to dealing with men who fit into neat categories. They know how to handle the confident leader, the charming smooth talker, the devoted nice guy, even the reckless bad boy. But the Sigma, he doesn't fit the script. He can be cold yet deeply intense, distant yet profoundly engaging. One moment he's unreadable, the next he's saying something that cuts straight through the noise of everyday conversations. It's not a game. It's just how his mind works. He gives nothing away for free. No exaggerated emotions, no unnecessary flattery, no desperate attempts to impress. A woman can't manipulate him with beauty because he's not wired to chase. She can't control him with emotional tests because he sees through them. And yet, the more he resists falling into her expected patterns, the more she wants to figure him out. The truth is, she never fully will. A Sigma male isn't an act. He's a contradiction by nature. And that's what keeps him unforgettable. Not because he tries to be, but because his existence alone disrupts the way people think about men. He is, and always will be, the puzzle that refuses to be solved. Number 2. He exists in a mental universe. Women want to enter but can't fully comprehend. A Sigma male's mind is a world of its own, silent, complex, and operating on a frequency most people don't even realize exists. Women can sense this the moment they interact with him. There's something about the way he carries himself, the way he processes situations, the way he sees what others miss. He's not easily impressed, not easily influenced, and certainly not predictable. This isn't arrogance. It's a different way of thinking, one that doesn't rely on external validation or the usual social scripts. Women are naturally intuitive when it comes to reading men, but with a Sigma, their instincts fail them. He doesn't respond the way other men do. He doesn't jump at an opportunity to impress, doesn't react to obvious tests, and doesn't play into expectations. He processes things on a deeper level, often seeing through people before they even realize it. This unsettles women because they're used to holding a certain level of control in social dynamics. With him, that control slips. The most frustrating part? He's not closed off, at least not in the way most assume. He engages, observes, and absorbs, but always on his own terms. He might drop a single sentence that completely shifts a conversation, exposing a perspective she never considered. He might notice details about her that no one else does, but never in a way that feels rehearsed or manipulative. It's real, it's raw, and it leaves her questioning who he really is and why she can't quite figure him out. She wants access to his world, but it's not one she can simply walk into. He decides who enters, how deep they go, and when they leave. And that exclusivity, that's what makes his mind the most intriguing place she'll never fully explore. Number 3. He's a paradox, unreachable yet emotionally intense. A Sigma male is a walking contradiction. He keeps his distance, yet when he chooses to connect, the intensity is undeniable. He's not the type to seek emotional validation, pour his heart out for attention, or engage in superficial displays of affection. He values his emotional energy too much to waste it. But when he does let someone in, it's never halfway. It's all or nothing. This duality leaves women completely unprepared. They assume he's emotionally unavailable because he doesn't react like other men. He doesn't chase, doesn't crave attention, doesn't make predictable moves. Yet when the right moment comes, his emotional presence hits like a tidal wave. It's not performative. It's not for show. It's raw, unfiltered, and often more than they expected or can handle. The problem? Women aren't used to this. They know how to deal with the distant man who stays distant. They know how to handle the emotional man who's always open. But a man who is both? That's dangerous. His emotional intensity isn't desperate or needy. It's controlled, deliberate, and deeply affecting. It forces them to confront emotions they weren't ready for. It destabilizes their usual approach to relationships. And just when they think they understand him, he pulls back. Not as a game, but because that's his nature. He won't let himself be tied down emotionally unless it's real. This unpredictability leaves women in a constant push and pull between wanting to chase him and wanting to run from the intensity of what he makes them feel. The paradox is irresistible, and that's why they never forget him, even if they never fully get to keep him. Number 4. He disrupts a woman's need for control. Women are used to holding a certain level of control in social and romantic dynamics. Whether subtly or openly, they test men, gauging their confidence, their patience, their willingness to bend to their will. Some men fail these tests by becoming overly eager to please. Others pass by asserting dominance. But Sigma males, they don't even acknowledge the game. This is what throws women off. A Sigma doesn't react to the usual tactics. He doesn't get flustered, doesn't seek approval, and doesn't crumble under emotional pressure. He's not hostile or dismissive. He simply operates on a plane where manipulation and control don't work. If a woman tries to make him jealous, he remains indifferent. If she plays hard to get, he respects her space and moves on. If she tries to test his patience, she quickly realizes he has none for games. This forces a woman to make a decision. Either step up to his level and engage with him authentically, or risk being left behind. There is no middle ground, no space for shallow mind games. And that's where the disruption happens. Most women have never met a man who won't be controlled, baited, or emotionally cornered. It forces them to reassess their approach, their expectations, and sometimes even themselves. Some find it frustrating. Others find it addictive, because while a Sigma refuses to be controlled, he also refuses to control anyone else. He's not interested in power struggles. He's interested in real connection, real value, real depth. The moment a woman realizes that, she understands. The only way to be with a Sigma male is to be truly herself. Number 5. He's unimpressed by beauty, and that drives women crazy. Most men are wired to react instantly to beauty. A gorgeous woman walks into a room and heads turn. Compliments flow. Attention is given without effort. Women know this, and many have built their entire social experience around it. Then they meet a Sigma male, and suddenly the game doesn't work. A Sigma sees beauty, but he doesn't submit to it. He acknowledges an attractive woman, but he doesn't lose himself over her looks. There's no instant admiration, no desperate attempts to impress, no predictable reaction. To him, beauty is just another trait, not a golden ticket to his attention. And that drives women insane. A woman who's used to effortless male validation now finds herself in unfamiliar territory. She's expecting him to engage, to chase, to show signs of interest. But he doesn't. He treats her like anyone else. Not coldly, just without the pedestal she's used to standing on. And that lack of immediate approval? It forces her to rethink everything. At first she might dismiss him, but then curiosity creeps in. Why isn't he looking? Why isn't he trying? Before she knows it, she's invested in figuring him out, in making him notice. But the truth is, a Sigma won't notice just because she's beautiful. He'll notice if she's interesting, intelligent, and genuinely unique. This reversal of roles, where the woman now feels the need to prove herself, flips the entire power dynamic. And once she realizes he won't fall for surface-level attraction, she either walks away frustrated or tries harder than ever to earn what other men give away for free. Number 6. He's dangerous without being reckless. A Sigma male doesn't need to prove his strength. He just has it. It's in the way he moves, the way he speaks, the way he doesn't react when provoked. He's not reckless, loud, or attention-seeking, but there's an undercurrent of dangerous capability beneath his calm exterior. Women pick up on this immediately, even if they can't explain why. Unlike impulsive men who throw punches to assert dominance or flex their status to feel powerful, a Sigma has nothing to prove. He knows exactly what he's capable of, and that silent confidence is far more unsettling than any display of aggression. He carries himself with the presence of a man who could destroy someone, but chooses not to. It's that restraint, that deliberate self-control that makes him more intimidating than even the most dominant alpha. Women find themselves drawn to this paradox. He's not reckless, yet he radiates danger. He doesn't seek control, yet he can't be controlled. His unpredictability isn't chaotic. It's measured, intentional, and precise. When he speaks, his words cut through nonsense like a blade. When he moves, he does so with purpose. He isn't swayed by emotions, yet his presence alone stirs deep emotions in others. This kind of controlled power is rare, and that's what makes him so magnetic. He's the man who could break the rules, but only does so when necessary. He won't seek conflict, but if forced into one, he will end it efficiently. He's not the wild card that explodes under pressure. He's the one who silently calculates, adapts, and strikes only when it matters. And that level of control, it's both terrifying and irresistible. Number 7. He's a mental gladiator. A Sigma male doesn't just think, he dissects, analyzes, and sees through the kind of surface-level thinking that most people accept without question. His mind is a weapon, and he wields it with precision. Conversations with him are never predictable, never routine. He doesn't just nod along to opinions to be agreeable, and he certainly doesn't let weak arguments slide. If something doesn't make sense, he'll call it out, not to be difficult, but because he values truth over comfort. Women aren't used to this. Many men either blindly agree with them to gain favor or push back with fragile egos, turning debates into childish power struggles. A Sigma does neither. He challenges without arrogance, dismantles without condescension, and forces people to confront ideas they've never questioned before. Even when a woman disagrees with him, she can't ignore the strength of his mind. This kind of intellectual dominance is unsettling in the best way. He sees through emotional manipulation, detects inconsistencies in logic, and refuses to be swayed by sentiment alone. He won't argue just for the sake of it, but if a topic matters, he will engage with the full force of his intelligence. And when he speaks, he doesn't need to raise his voice. His words are sharp enough on their own. Even women who find him frustrating can't deny their respect for him. He's a rare kind of man, one who doesn't seek approval, doesn't fear disagreement, and never backs down from a real discussion. He doesn't impose his views, but he forces people to think. And in a world where most are content with easy answers, that makes him impossible to ignore. Number 8. He gives nothing for free, including attention. A Sigma male operates on a different level when it comes to attention. He doesn't dole it out like a lifeline, hoping to win someone's favor or make them feel special. In fact, he doesn't even think of attention as something to be given away freely. For him, every moment, every glance, every word is deliberately earned. And when he does engage, it feels like a rare privilege. Most women are used to men who can't help but shower them with compliments, attention, or validation at the slightest hint of interest. It's almost like a reflex. She's attractive, so he responds with admiration. But a Sigma doesn't play that game. He's not in the business of feeding egos. If he acknowledges a woman, it's not because he has to or because he wants something from her. He does it because she has shown him something that makes her worthy of his time. It's this scarcity of attention that makes him so compelling. Women instinctively want what they can't have, and Sigma males are the perfect embodiment of that. If he notices her, if he chooses to engage, it means something. It's not a given, it's not a freebie. It's a signal that she has earned his respect, his focus, or his genuine interest. And that's far more valuable than any generic compliment or half-hearted validation. This creates a kind of magnetic tension. The woman who receives his attention knows it's not handed out to everyone, and that knowledge makes it feel like an accomplishment. She'll find herself wanting to prove herself worthy of it, yet constantly aware that she may never fully earn it unless she truly meets his standards. And the moment she realizes that, she can't stop thinking about him. Number 9. He can be in love without being owned. A Sigma male doesn't fear love or relationships. He's just incredibly selective about them. The key difference is that he doesn't seek out relationships to complete himself or fill any gaps, because in his mind, he's already whole. His independence isn't a defense mechanism, it's a lifestyle. He doesn't need anyone to save him, distract him, or make him feel validated. His solitude is a choice, not a state of loneliness. When a Sigma does fall in love, it's because that person adds value to his life in a way that aligns with his sense of self. They complement him, not complete him. His love isn't born out of a need for validation or emotional dependence. Instead, it comes from a place of wanting to share his life with someone who understands and respects his boundaries. If he opens up, it's not because he's desperate for connection. It's because he's found someone who fits seamlessly into his world, without demanding he change who he is. This dynamic is foreign to many women who are used to men being emotionally dependent or overly invested in making relationships their top priority. With a Sigma, there's no codependency, no constant need for reassurance, no overwhelming pressure to meet unrealistic emotional demands. He will love, but he will not be owned. He is still his own person, and that's what makes the relationship strong, because he's not relying on anyone else to define him. This independence is incredibly attractive. Women find themselves drawn to the strength it takes to love without need and the freedom he gives them to be themselves. It creates a healthy dynamic, where both partners bring their best selves to the table without relying on the other to fill any emotional gaps. And that kind of love? It's rare, real, and powerful. Number 10. He lives in the shadows, but commands the spotlight when necessary. A Sigma male thrives in the background, invisible yet undeniable. He doesn't chase fame, recognition, or attention. He doesn't need to. While others scramble for the spotlight, trying to prove themselves, the Sigma observes, plans, and bides his time. He's content in the shadows, watching the world unfold around him, because he understands the true power of restraint. But when the moment demands action, when leadership or influence is necessary, he steps forward. And when he does, it's like the world suddenly notices him for the first time. What makes him stand out isn't the volume of his voice or the flamboyance of his presence, but the effortless way he takes control when the situation calls for it. He doesn't need to announce himself. His presence commands attention without asking for it. Whether it's in a high-stakes meeting, an emergency situation, or a social gathering that needs direction, the Sigma rises, not out of ego, but because the moment requires someone who can lead with quiet authority. In those moments, his influence is undeniable. He doesn't dominate out of necessity. He does it because he is the one who can make things happen. Others look to him for direction, not because he's loud or pushy, but because they sense his unshakable confidence and trust his judgment. He doesn't try to control, he simply does what needs to be done, and does it better than anyone else. It's this rare ability to step into the spotlight only when necessary that makes him so powerful. People respect him, not because he seeks their admiration, but because he exudes competence and shows up with the right answer when it counts. It's a mastery of influence that's subtle yet potent, because he knows that true leadership isn't about being seen, it's about being effective when it matters most. Number 11. He doesn't chase, but he's always a step ahead. The Sigma male doesn't chase, yet somehow he's always in the perfect position to capture attention without even trying. He doesn't run after women or seek their validation, but he has an uncanny ability to know exactly when to show up, just enough to pique interest and keep them wondering. It's not magic, it's an intuitive understanding of human psychology and social dynamics. He's always aware of the subtle push and pull that exists between people, and he uses that knowledge to his advantage. When a Sigma enters the picture, it's never by accident. He knows exactly when to disappear and give space, letting the mystery build. When he returns, he's never forced or contrived. He's effortlessly where he needs to be. This creates an almost magnetic effect, as women find themselves caught between curiosity and anticipation. They wonder why he's not constantly around, but that's exactly why they can't stop thinking about him. It's the unpredictability that keeps them on edge, wanting more without ever fully being able to control the situation. By never pursuing, the Sigma male positions himself as someone who can't be chased, and yet he remains always a step ahead in their minds. His ability to navigate these emotional currents without getting caught in them is what makes him so irresistible. Because the chase is his to lead, not theirs. And in that quiet control, women find themselves pulled into his orbit, unable to resist the mystery of a man who doesn't need to chase, but somehow always ends up exactly where they want him. The Sigma male is a rare breed, a man who operates outside the boundaries of society's expectations, yet still manages to command respect and intrigue at every turn. He doesn't seek attention, yet his presence is felt deeply when he chooses to show up. He doesn't chase love or approval, but when he connects, it's genuine, deep, and on his terms. His mind is sharp, his independence absolute, and his ability to navigate the world with both unshakable confidence and quiet restraint makes him a force to be reckoned with. In a world filled with noise, the Sigma male is the calm center, a paradox that fascinates and challenges those around him. Women can't help but be drawn to him, not because of what he offers, but because of what he withholds. And it's this scarcity, this enigma, that makes him unforgettable. Whether he's silently observing from the shadows or stepping into the spotlight with effortless authority, he always remains true to himself. The Sigma male isn't here to play by anyone's rules, and that's exactly why he's so compelling. He's not just a man, he's a masterclass in self-mastery, and anyone lucky enough to experience his world understands that being in his presence is a privilege, not a right. To know him, to connect with him, is to realize that true strength doesn't scream for attention, it simply exists, effortlessly and unapologetically. And that's the secret power of the Sigma male. If you found yourself intrigued by the power and mystery of the Sigma male, don't keep this to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share with someone who needs to understand just how captivating this type of man really is. We've only scratched the surface, and there's so much more to dive into. Stay tuned for more insights and deep dives into the world of the Sigma male, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and explore what makes him one of the most intriguing personalities out there. Subscribe now. You won't want to miss what's coming next.